It's been quite some time since the last video on the Eclipse, and so it seemed fitting to dig out the sleek stealth bomber and hunt some hostiles. But rather than dive right into the party trick of the big size 9 torpedoes, this video hopes to show that the alternative armament works just fine against smaller targets, at least from a PvE perspective. I'm Forrester, and this gameplay video shows a gradated approach of taking out the Eclipse against slowly larger targets up to the medium-sized contracts. Some parts have been sped up to keep the overall length of the video down, but those parts are clearly marked as such. But without adding too much more, let's get started. And as with most gameplay sections, we start by spawning in the Eclipse. At this point, we'll speed things up to 12 speed as we hop into the cockpit, grab our first contract, and then make our way to the target area. Now, incidentally, the reason why I'm starting with some of the smaller contracts is, I don't know if I'm the only one, but sometimes I have this issue where, despite having reputation with the Bounty Hunter Guild, only the lowest end contracts are available to me, and every now and then I need to redo the assessments. I suspect it might be quite a common one, but this is a necessary step to unlocking those large contracts again, and so we're out and hunting small game rather than the big fries. So in this case we've got a contract, and as we float down to the surface of the moon, why not enjoy a little external view of the Eclipse? Beautiful. There we are, continue back down to the surface. Now, in theory, you could just use torpedoes for these smaller contracts, but the torpedoes on the Eclipse are rather expensive, around 3,500 Alpha UEC each, and the payout on these missions really doesn't justify that. And actually, even though it's perhaps not the best suited to getting in close and dogfighting away, as hopefully you will agree, the Eclipse does just fine against those smaller targets. In this case, we're starting with a Mustang Alpha. Close to within weapons range, which for the guns is 2 kilometers. And then let her up. Should say, in case anybody is making notes, I don't think it's exactly 2 kilometers, but for a head-on approach, it's around that 2 kilometer mark. So it's probably like 1,800 meters or something like that. But in my mind, I'm thinking 2 kilometers is when you should be on the lookout. It'd be interesting to know how this changes with master modes in the upcoming 3.23 patch as well. As we clearly damage that Mustang to a spin. And he's not happy about that. So, first contract complete. Fly on past, pick up the next contract when one's available. Another VLRT. Again, just not showing contracts for some reason. I mean, it's possible that I'm on a server where they're all taken and people are very busily working away on these bounty contracts, but incidentally, if you would like to see more gameplay of taking out larger ships with the torpedoes, just let me know in the comments. That's not a problem. I can happily record some of that if that's what people would like to see. But for this contract, we're back on another VLRT, and there's another Mustang Delta. Oh no, Mustang Beta, I should say. First one's down. And a little closer to the surface, and there's an Aurora ES. The Essentials Aurora. Destroyed. On quite a nice Hurston morning/evening. You don't get that every day. Alright, and then for this contract, managed to pick up an MRT. So this might be one where it's worth, well, worth is maybe a stretch, but this is one where we might use a torpedo to knock out the primary target. Close the distance, head to the surface of the moon. There we go. Picked up at a bit of a distance. What do we have? A blade. Well, I don't really want to dogfight that, so I'm tempted to fire a missile. Torpedo, I should say. Watch as it goes in. Kill. Very satisfying. Accidentally dumbfired one there. So one of the slight downsides of my missile targeting method is I use my Toby eye tracker, which is fantastic. It's great for if you've got a target off to one side. But when you're in a situation like this, sometimes you find yourself glancing around the screen. So understanding your current range, your optimum ranges, you might be glancing left or right. And as you do that, it takes your eyes off the target, which impacts your target tracking. So somewhat less ideal use case for this specifically, although in general it's very useful. Even for other missiles, for example, if you're shooting missiles in a direction other than which you're travelling, having the head tracking is incredible. I don't know if I've explained that very well, but basically, sometimes I look away from the target and get distracted. And the end result is we end up having to close fight a Vanguard Sentinel, which is somewhat less than ideal. And for those watching and wondering about this crude, close-in fighting that I'm doing, I can hold my own in Star Citizen, I would say, but I'm certainly not the top 1% or anything like that. I understand some of the principles, at least some of the principles in 322, all set to change. But I don't profess to be an extreme dogfighter or anything like that. Generally, if I am in combat, I much prefer the clean, perhaps less interesting kill, which is why the Eclipse is quite a good ship for that. If you're firing at range with the torpedoes, you can be quite surgical. In, fire the missile, out. Contract done. Not that there's anything wrong with people who enjoy dogfighting, of course. Like, one of the good things I always say about this game is there's so many different things that people can enjoy doing depending on what tickles their fancy. Some of these NPCs have got quite bad language today. Accused of being all sorts. So in case this dogfighting is a little painful to watch, it's because I'm trying to not sit in front of him. And the Eclipse only has 2 badges, it's not the most powerful armament, and the Vanguard is obviously quite a heavy fighter, so between that and my bad aim, it takes a little bit of time to whittle it down, but that's fine. Wishing I hadn't wasted 2 of those torpedoes now. Right, a little bit of boost. I think we're there. I think we're there with him. He's going down. Right? Yes, right. For 500 Alpha UEC. Not the easiest that I ever earned. So because we're out of torpedoes, going to head back to Everest and restock. I think after that might take out one more contract to show some of those torpedoes in action. So if you are here for torpedo action, fear not. Quantum interdicted on the way in, but then there was nothing with anything to keep me there, so I just left. Rather than go through another long dogfight. And then coming in to land. Incidentally, for those who followed my video recently about the Verpil hardware, where I was talking about using the control panel, when I'm coming into land now, I have such a good workflow with that, of using the control panel and the buttons to be able to request land permission, and then a physical landing lever just feels incredible, especially in a ship like this. There, look like there's an MRT contract that might fit the bill. We'll take it. We'll take it. At least we can fire some torpedoes in the way they're supposed to be used, in theory. Quick check that they have restocked. They have. So we'll go engines on and we'll get ready to head back out, finalise this contract.
You are clear to launch.
So again, the torpedo has been quite expensive. It was what, 10,500 to restock all three there? These contracts don't really pay out at this level, so if you're looking to make money from doing this, that you're much better focused on the higher level contracts to make those torpedoes pay for themselves. But as I mentioned earlier, those are not currently available to me till I unlock them again. So as part of just getting used to flying the Eclipse, just doing them work out where I'm going. It's kind of like sat in between different areas. I think Calthrope's probably the closest. Oh, we've got the sun over to the left. Or a sun over to the left. Lovely. You don't say that about Hurston very often, do you? So strange how Lorville is so lit up as well. There we are, down to the surface. And then we'll make our way across to our target. So again, just speed this up a little bit. And there's our target, a Vanguard Sentinel. So try not to get too close so that we can get into torpedo range. Versus away. Watching that torpedo going all the way in. A long ride out there. Kill. And then the next is a Prowler. So we'll go for the lock. And it kind of lost the lock mid-air there, so that one might be a dud. We shall see. Yeah, it looks like that one might be a dud. Never mind, we've got another one. Just watching to wait and see if that one's actually going to fly in and hit anything. Nope. So we'll fire the last. At least the target is manoeuvring a little bit now. He perhaps took a little bit of damage from the last one. I say he, I think Bardo is a generally he name. But there we are. Kill, kill. So head back out and head back to refuel. So that was 8,000 UEC, so had I made both torpedoes count, that would have just about covered the cost. But as you can see, it was completely surgical, so no repair costs or anything like that. You sit a distance away, fire the torpedo, and then get away before anybody has the chance to target you. True stealth bomber style. And there you are, nice shot of the Eclipse as we close out as well. Really like that kind of like almost like naval wing folding. Very satisfying. And come in for a landing. Try and keep it smooth. So you can imagine operating this from, I don't know, an Idris or something similar to that, assuming it fits. Could be quite a satisfying way to be floating around a planetary system, getting things done, destroying targets. I think I would quite enjoy that. There we are. Got in our restock and refuel as well for not too much. So, hopefully you found it interesting to see the Eclipse used in a slightly different way. If so, you might press the like button to let me know I should make more like this, and if you're not yet subscribed, given that you've got this far, you probably want to do that too, so that YouTube will know to show you more videos like this in the future. But otherwise, and as always, thank you for watching.